Jenny, in your day job you work for the BBC and you host a show called Soul and Motown. I think that gives it away, doesn't it?
It
How
does.
did you first get an interest in that type of music?
Good question. Let me think. Well, the Motown music, I think, was because I used to go to quite a lot of discos where Motown was played when I was in my teenage years. I remember going around West Bromwich, and used into Dudley, because I've lived in Dudley. The Northern Soul music came from a friend of mine called Patrick, who was allowed to go to Wigan Casino when I wasn't allowed to go. He was a family friend, he was a little bit older than me, so he used to go to Wigan, bring back a few vinyl singles, and we'd go in his living room on a Saturday night when all our parents were in the other room playing cards, and he'd be playing these tracks and we'd be dancing around the living room. So that's what got me into it. So Skiing in the Snow by Wigan's Ovation, which not everybody thinks it's a great classic, but you know, it's the song that got me into Northern Soul. So for me, that's what really got me started into Northern Soul.
You've mentioned Dudley. I went to school at Sir Gilbert Claughton Grammar School.
Yep.
And of course you'll remember Graduate Records that used to be in the tower.
I do.
And I remember one day buying David Ruffin, Walk Away from Love, and that, going back in time, is the first soul record that I can remember buying. Putting you on the spot now, can you remember your first record that you bought?
It wasn't a soul record though. I was talking about it on the radio a couple of weeks ago actually. I bought See My Baby Jive by Wizard, and I bought it because I absolutely loved the introduction, and I still think now it's got an amazing introduction. But it wasn't a soul record. It's interesting, isn't it, that? I think that was what I was growing up with, and I got probably into Motown and soul a little bit later on, when I started going out to the discos. So yeah, it was Wizard.
Well, I was going to ask you about your favourite record, but you've already told us that, because a while back Bev Bevan asked you what your favourite song was, and you said it was Wigan's Ovation, Skiing in the Snow.
There you go.
And you told the story on radio about Patrick and how he used to go to Wigan and come back with the vinyl. Now, a lot of people, perhaps soul music fans, Northern Soul, die-hard purists, perhaps wouldn't be keen on Wigan's Ovation. So I take it you're not a purist.
I'm not a purist. I'm not a vinyl geek. So I know some people only like to play things on vinyl. For me, it's all about the tune. It's about the feel of the tune, and it's one of those things where, you know, you're at the disco, you hear it, and you just got to get on the dance floor. That's me, because I love dancing. So there are lots of tracks that do that for me. So I'm not that fussed about what you're playing it on, but I just like to hear the sound of the music. That's what it is for me. And I say that about the Soul and Motown show because there are lots of people who listen who obviously are big Northern experts, and I don't claim to be an expert because that's not what I am. I'm not very knowledgeable about it either particularly. I just like the music, and I like to think that the show is a good mix of really well-known stuff and stuff that you might never have heard before, and something that's a little bit different. But I try and please a lot of people, so it's not a specific genre, and try and keep it a bit more open. So, and I don't make any apologies for the fact that, you know, it isn't all vinyl, it isn't all Northern, but you know, it's a mix that seems to work. So, you know, that's why it seems to be successful.
Jenny, I'm with you 100% on that, because I do have a vinyl collection, just Motown, and I'll often get the record player out on the carpet, play the records, scratches, jumps, sticking needles, the whole lot. Takes you back in time. But I must admit, I do love Spotify, and on the way to where we are this evening, I got the Tams on in the car, Be Young, Be Foolish, and all those great classics that they produced, of course, way back in time. I can remember as a youngster, school would finish on Friday, Saturday afternoon I'd be down Wolverhampton, Ruby Red Records and all those shops which have long since gone, sadly. Were you into that as well, buying the vinyl back in the day?
I think when I started doing discos, which I did probably when I was about 18, then I used to go to Max Millward's Records in Wednesfield and get vinyl from there. So I used to play vinyl then, and I used to buy 12 inches as well, like multicoloured 12-inch singles that I've still got at home, some of the disco stuff as well. Yeah, so yeah, but not like a massive collector, but used to buy the stuff for the discos, yeah. So yeah, still got an attic creaking with vinyl, yeah.
I can remember the 12-inch singles, of course. They were really popular.
Yeah.
I got things like Chic and War and the various types of groups that were around, funk groups as well. I used to like funk music, still do, of course. But coming to the present, are you a streamer, or do you still like to play the vinyl given the choice?
I tend not to be a streamer particularly. I don't tend to play vinyl when I'm at home either. I like to listen to the radio, and I really enjoy when I'm recording the show because I just love the tunes, and then I do a bit of dancing around the studio and that sort of stuff, yeah.
Well, my favourite group has been for many years The Temptations. If I were to put you on the spot now and say, Jenny, there's only one artist that you can listen to for the rest of your life, who would it be?
Oh, so that's very hard, isn't it? I think on the soul front, maybe Edwin Starr, because he did a lot of different sorts of music. Got to know him a bit as well, and he was just so lovely. But also on the not soul front, I'm a big fan of Rod Stewart, and he did so many different tracks, and I've been to see him loads of times, and I just love his voice and love listening to him as well.
And Edwin Starr lived in the Midlands,
He
didn't
did,
he,
yeah,
prior
in
to his
Polesworth,
death?
yeah.
And that's how you got to know him?
Yeah, because he was doing because he used to tell the story about him being really famous on the Northern Soul scene in England and knowing nothing about it. He couldn't believe it, so when he came to England and people were like, oh, it's Edwin Starr, and in America they weren't really taking any notice of him, so that's why he stayed and lived here and did gigs around the country. He was in Polesworth for quite a long time, but then he moved to Nottinghamshire before he died. He was starting to work a lot with young people as well and doing lots of really good work. But I've not long ago interviewed his brother Angelo Starr, because he goes out with the band now and does some singing. He's got a great voice as well, actually. So yeah, a great soul legend, Edwin.
And finally, Jenny, the Soul and Motown show on BBC. It has been quite nomadic over the years. It's had various slots and days. At the moment, it's a Sunday afternoon. Do you want to give that a plug for us?
I do, yes, thank you very much. So it's on a Sunday afternoon between 1 and 3. Football permitting, because it does get moved a bit, especially with Wolves being in Europe. It gets jiggled about, or I've got short shows quite a lot. But 1 till 3, it's always on the BBC Sounds app as well. So if you can't listen on a Sunday afternoon, if you just Google Soul and Motown show or BBC WM Soul or anything like that, or on the Sounds app, search Soul and it comes up. That's a good way to listen. Then you can listen anytime you want.
Well, we've had some music accompaniment
Yeah.
behind us, not soul music, unfortunately. Jenny, thank you for your time. Very much appreciated. KTF, for those who don't
Yeah,
understand
keep
the language, keep the faith, which could apply not only to music, but also as a Wolves fan as well.
Yeah.